Welcome to the Prescott Lab Podcast, not just theory, practical science for everyone. I'm Dr. Jonathan Prescott, a physician and integrative medicine researcher at the Ravenshade Institute for Human Health. And if you're a man over 60 or even approaching that age and you've quietly wondered, where did my energy go? If mornings feel a little less firm, a little less certain, I want you to listen closely. Because what I'm about to share might feel personal. Because it is. See, I've spent over 3 decades sitting across from men just like you, strong men, smart men, men who have worked hard their whole lives but woke up one day and felt less energy, less confidence, less fire. But here's the truth I want you to hold on to: you are not done, not by a long shot. And tonight, I'm going to walk you through a simple but powerful shift you can make before bed that could completely change how you wake up tomorrow. Now, before we dive into the science, and trust me, it's coming, let me ask you a favor from one man to another. If this message already speaks to something inside you, if you value real answers, real care, and content made for men, not to sell but to serve, click that like button right now. It might feel small, but every like you give is fuel. It's what tells us this message matters. It's what gives us the energy to keep creating, to keep digging, and to keep bringing you truth in a world full of noise. And hey, if you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and do it now. Because what we're building here isn't just a podcast. It's a place where men come to feel understood, respected, and stronger than they did yesterday. So take a breath, settle in, and let me show you how a quiet drink at night could be the first step to waking up with strength again. 1. The silent decline no one warns you about. You want to know the truth. The real changes don't start when the hair goes gray or the back starts aching. They begin far more quietly, with something missing that used to be there every morning without fail. Let me tell you about someone I once treated. Henry, 67, retired firefighter, a tough man, brave, built like a rock. But when he sat down in my office, he didn't talk about pain or injuries. He looked me in the eye and said, "Doc, I didn't feel old until I stopped waking up the same way." And I knew exactly what he meant. He wasn't talking about coffee or stiffness or dreams. He was talking about that signal, the one every man knows without needing to be told. That quiet, firm reminder each morning that your body is still in the game, that your circulation, your energy, your very manhood are still alive and well. When that disappears, something deeper sets in. Not fear, not even panic, just a quiet grief. Not the kind that brings tears, but the kind that settles deep in your bones. You don't even realize it at first. One restless night, then a week, then a month, and then nothing. You begin to ask yourself, is this just aging? Is this permanent? Is there something wrong with me? But here's the brutal honesty most doctors won't tell you: it doesn't happen overnight, and it's not random. It's not just testosterone dropping or stress building. It's your blood vessels slowly stiffening, your nitric oxide production declining, your sleep becoming lighter, your recovery falling behind. And because no one talks about it, most men just accept it, or worse, blame themselves. I've seen it again and again, men thinking they're broken when in fact they're simply uninformed. And that's the moment I always lean forward and say, you are not done, not even close. Your body still knows how to respond. The machinery isn't broken, it's just waiting for the right environment to come back online. But to restore what was lost, you can't start with pills or pressure or shame. You have to start with care. That's why I tell every man over 60, the comeback doesn't begin in the morning. It starts the night before. And what happens to your blood flow during those nighttime hours, that's where the real story begins. 2. Blood flow is everything. A lot of men walk into my office with their heads full of numbers. They'll bring in their labs and say, "Doc, my testosterone looks fine, my cholesterol's under control, my heart scans are clean, so why do I still feel off?" I look at them and I always ask the same question. "How's your circulation?" That usually gets me a blank stare. See, what most men don't realize is this: you can have the desire, the drive, the hormones, and still come up short if your blood isn't moving the way it should. Because performance, real, lasting, confident performance, has less to do with testosterone and everything to do with flow. Let me take you back to a patient I'll never forget. Alan, 72, retired contractor. Fit, sharp, walked 5 miles every morning. He said, "Doc, I'm strong as ever, but I'm not working where it counts." And he was right. You can have the engine, the fuel, even the spark, but if the pipes are clogged or stiff, nothing fires. Blood flow isn't just plumbing, it's identity, it's confidence, it's that subtle fire that tells you, "I'm still a man." Now here's the science, simple but powerful. In your younger years, your body produced something called nitric oxide, a natural molecule that relaxes your arteries and tells them it's time to open up. This lets blood move freely, fully, without resistance. But after 50, that production drops, arteries stiffen, responsiveness fades. Your blood still wants to move, but it's like trying to drive through traffic with all the lights stuck on red. And slowly, quietly, your body stops giving you the signals it used to, not because it can't, but because it's not being supported. Here's the good news: blood flow can be restored. Arteries can be coaxed back into rhythm. You don't need extreme workouts or synthetic interventions. You need support, consistency, and a clear path forward. But timing matters. You can't just force it during the day and expect results. The window where your body is most ready to restore blood flow isn't when you're awake. It's when you sleep. That's where most men go wrong, and that's exactly where we're heading next. 3. Why nighttime is the golden hour for men over 60. Let me ask you something personal. When was the last time you had a truly restful night? I'm not talking about just getting through the night. I mean deep sleep, the kind where you wake up feeling rebuilt, not just rested. Because here's the truth that most men miss: nighttime is not just when you sleep, it's when you heal. Your body doesn't shut down when your eyes close. It goes to work quietly, methodically, repairing damage, recalibrating hormones, and restoring the balance that aging chips away at during the day. But only if you let it. The men I work with often tell me the same story. They go to bed tired but don't sleep well. They wake up more exhausted than they were the night before. Tossing, turning, getting up to pee once, twice, sometimes 3 times. They tell me they feel like their bodies just don't reset anymore. And they're right, because for many of them, nighttime is no longer a window for recovery. It's a missed opportunity. Let's break it down. While you sleep, your blood pressure naturally drops, your heart rate slows, and your parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and repair system, takes over. This is the golden hour. It's when your body produces nitric oxide to keep your vessels supple. It's when testosterone is released, not all at once, but in powerful pulses that signal your system. Rebuild, recharge, renew. But here's the catch. If you go to bed dehydrated or with a belly full of processed food or stressed, scrolling through bad news or old regrets, your body doesn't shift into repair, it shifts into defense. And instead of rebuilding your strength, it tightens your vessels, inflames your gut, clouds your brain, and steals your morning energy before you even wake up. I've seen men transform, not because they took something exotic, but because they finally learned to treat nighttime like a sacred appointment with their own recovery. And that brings us to one of the simplest, most overlooked tools I've ever shared. A small act before bed that sets the tone for your entire night and for how you wake up the next day. It's not a pill. It's not a gimmick. It's a drink. 3 ingredients. 1 powerful effect. And the reason it works is because it doesn't push your body. It invites your body to remember. 4. The 3-ingredient drink that reverses the clock. Over the years, I've been asked one question more times than I can count. Doc, isn't there something simple I can do? Something natural that actually works? And every time my answer is the same: yes, if you know when to do it and how to do it right. You see, most men are looking for the next big breakthrough. A pill, a therapy, a supplement, a shortcut. But what if the thing that brings you back to life isn't loud or expensive or new? What if it's been sitting in your kitchen all along? Because when you understand how your body recovers, how it responds to rhythm, nourishment, and timing, you realize that the real secret isn't complicated. It's consistent, and one of the simplest, most effective tools I've ever shared with my patients. It's a bedtime drink, just 3 ingredients. No powders, no chemicals, no fancy labels. Warm water, pure pomegranate juice, a thin slice of fresh ginger, that's it. But here's the catch: it's not just what you drink, it's when you drink it. This blend, taken in the final hour before bed, becomes something much more than a beverage. It becomes a signal to your blood vessels: relax, expand, flow freely. A signal to your gut: the work is done, it's time to settle. A signal to your nervous system: you're safe, let go. I first discovered this combination with a patient who came in exhausted, not just physically but emotionally. He looked me in the eye and said, "Doc, I'm tired of fighting my body, I want to work with it." That line stuck with me because that's exactly what this drink does. It doesn't try to force your body into submission. It supports it gently, quietly, the way healing is supposed to happen after 60. The warm water soothes your nerves and opens your system. The ginger boosts nitric oxide and calms inflammation. The pomegranate brings antioxidants that nourish your blood vessels and oxygen pathways. But together, timed right, taken consistently, they form a ritual, a pattern your body starts to trust, a nightly rhythm that invites strength, clarity, and performance to return on their own terms. And what happens after just a few nights? That's where it starts to get interesting. 5. How each ingredient supports blood flow, sleep, and erection quality. When I first broke down this drink for a patient, ingredient by ingredient, he raised an eyebrow and said, "That's it, just juice, ginger, and warm water?" And I smiled, because what looks simple on the surface often works in deeper, smarter ways than most people ever realize. Let's start with the red jewel in the mix, pomegranate juice. This isn't just a sweet fruit. It's one of the richest natural sources of polyphenols, powerful plant compounds that do two critical things. They reduce inflammation inside your arteries, and they repair the endothelial lining, the smooth inner surface that helps blood flow where it needs to go. Studies have shown that men who regularly consume pomegranate juice see measurable improvements in circulation, erectile response, and even arterial flexibility. And that's without any drugs, without side effects. Then comes the quiet powerhouse, ginger. This humble root has been used for centuries not just as a spice but as medicine. What makes ginger so effective in this context is its ability to stimulate nitric oxide production, the exact molecule your body uses to relax blood vessels and allow blood to flow freely. But ginger does more than that. It also soothes your digestive system, reducing nighttime bloat and tension. And when your gut is calm, your sleep deepens, your testosterone balances, and your nervous system gets the green light to truly repair. And finally, warm water. The ingredient most men dismiss, but perhaps the most essential. Warm water is your body's invitation to shift gears. It lowers nighttime blood pressure, signals parasympathetic activation, and prepares your system for rest. It also enhances nutrient absorption, allowing the ginger and pomegranate to work more effectively cell by cell. And here's the real key. When these three are combined, not randomly but intentionally at night, they don't just improve one function. They create a synergistic effect that supports vascular health, hormonal repair, neurological calm, and yes, morning performance. It doesn't happen like a switch. It happens like a memory. Your body begins to remember how to respond again. Gently, fully, without force. And what I love most is how consistently this shows up in real men's lives. Because when the ingredients are this natural and the timing this aligned, the results start to speak louder than any prescription ever could. And now let's talk about those results. Because what some men report after just 7 nights is more than encouraging. It's the first sign that hope is still alive in their mornings. 6. What real men are experiencing after 7 days. Let me tell you about a man named Thomas. He was 68, a retired mechanic, hands like iron but eyes that told a different story. He called me a week after starting the nightly drink. He said, "Doc, I woke up this morning and for the first time in years I felt like me again. No fireworks, no drama, just a quiet return of something that had been gone so long he forgot what it felt like." That's what this is about. It's not about chasing your 20s. It's not about performance for performance's sake. It's about feeling like yourself again. After just 7 nights, men have told me things I never get tired of hearing. I slept straight through for the first time in months. I only got up once instead of 3 times. I woke up before my alarm and I felt good. My wife asked me why I was smiling. I felt like I could breathe again. And for many of them, something else happened. Something harder to talk about, but more meaningful than any lab result. That morning signal returned, not loud, not showy, just there, a sign, a whisper, a reminder that the body still remembers. And with that return, something even more powerful came back, hope, not the fake kind sold on late-night commercials. The real kind, the kind you feel in your chest, in your breath, in your stride. I've watched men become more present, more patient with their grandkids, more connected to their wives, more at ease in their own skin. And it all starts with one small act, showing up for themselves, not just once, but night after night, because this isn't about luck, it's about rhythm. And if this is what happens after 1 week, imagine what your body might remember after 1 month. But consistency doesn't just come from motivation, it comes from meaning. So next, let me show you how to turn this drink into more than just a task. Let's make it into something you actually look forward to. 7. Turn a drink into a ritual. It's easy to brush this off. It's just a drink, doc. A sip, a habit, something to knock back before bed. But if that's all it is, you're missing the real gift. Because what I've seen time and time again is that when a man chooses to do something simple with intention, that act becomes something sacred. One of my patients, Robert, 74, a retired school principal, said it best. "This drink became the one part of my day that's just for me. No noise, no fixing, no chasing, just return." And that's the word that keeps coming up. Return to presence, to peace, to power. There's something deeply healing about those 5 quiet minutes before bed. No screens, no news, no pressure, just you and your decision to care for yourself without apology. You warm the water, you pour the juice. You slice the ginger, not like a chore, like a promise. A promise that says, I still matter, I still believe in this body, I haven't given up. And your body hears that because the nervous system isn't just mechanical, it's emotional. It knows when you're rushing, and it knows when you're finally slowing down enough to listen. You don't need candles, you don't need music, you don't need to chant mantras or burn sage, you just need presence. The ritual becomes the medicine. And over time, it becomes something you look forward to, not just for the results, but for the reminder that healing can feel good, that stillness is strength, that consistency is power. And once the ritual takes root, something else starts to shift. You begin to realize that your body isn't the enemy. It's been waiting for you to show up again. And if you're ready to take it just one step further, there's a small addition you can make, one that costs nothing but amplifies everything. And it starts with movement. 8. Addressing the skeptics. I get it. You've heard a lot of promises. Miracle cures, overnight results, ads that scream louder than your own body can whisper. So when I say a simple drink taken with intention can change how you feel in the morning, I expect the eye roll. I expect the "come on, doc, really" face, and I don't blame you because most men were raised to believe that healing has to hurt, that if it's not intense, if it doesn't sting or sweat or strain, then it's not doing anything. But here's the truth, after 60, your body doesn't want to be forced, it wants to be supported. It's like an old friend who's walked beside you for decades. It doesn't need to be yelled at, it just needs to be heard. One of my patients, Calvin, 70, retired Army sergeant, told me flat out, "If it doesn't burn or buzz, I don't trust it." I smiled and told him, "Then maybe it's time to stop fighting and start listening. Because your body isn't broken, it's just tired of being pushed." And that's what this ritual does. It doesn't override your biology. It works with it night after night, rebuilding what time and stress have slowly worn down. Skepticism is healthy. It means you care. But sometimes it also keeps you standing still. So let me ask you, what if the answer isn't louder, harder, faster? What if the answer is quieter? Simpler, more human than you thought? What if healing doesn't begin with effort, but with permission? Because you don't have to believe in magic, you just have to believe your body still wants to respond. And once you do, once you give it the smallest window to breathe, to rest, to flow again, you might be surprised what's still possible. And there's one more piece to that puzzle. It's not a product. It's not a prescription. It's something you already have if you know how to use it. Let me show you what happens when small acts are done with consistency, and how they lead to big results. 9 small acts, big results. You know what most men get wrong? They think change has to be dramatic, that it's only real if it hits hard and fast. But after 30 years of working with men in their 60s, 70s, even 80s, I can tell you this. The real transformation doesn't come from force. It comes from rhythm. Let me tell you about Richard, 66. He'd spent years bouncing from one solution to the next. Hardcore supplements, intense workouts, a drawer full of pills, nothing lasted. Until one day he said, "Doc, I stopped trying to conquer my body and started learning how to listen to it." He began with the drink, then added a 10-minute evening walk, then started sleeping without his phone in the room. Week by week, things shifted. His mornings were clearer, his digestion calmer. That quiet signal of manhood returned, not forced, not fake, just real. And here's the truth, every small act sent a message. To his blood vessels, you're supported. To his nervous system, you're safe. To his hormones, you don't have to fight tonight. These weren't giant leaps, they were gentle cues, and the body responded in kind. Because healing at this stage of life doesn't need more strain, it needs reliability, it needs ritual. You don't need to become a new man, you just need to remind your body of the man you still are. And when that happens, when clarity returns, when mornings feel steady again, it's not just your health that changes. It's how you walk, how you carry yourself, how you show up in the world. So don't underestimate these small nightly choices. They're not just healthy habits, they're a quiet revolution. And now that you've walked with me this far, let me leave you with one final thought. Not about performance, not about blood flow, but about something deeper. About what it means to honor yourself as a man in this season of life. 10 final thoughts from Dr. Prescott. If you've stayed with me this far, then you already know this wasn't just about a drink, it was about something deeper. It was about the quiet moments no one talks about, the soft signals that fade without warning, the mornings that feel emptier than they used to. We talked about blood flow, about nitric oxide circulation and the power of nighttime repair. We talked about pomegranate ginger and warm water, not as magic, but as medicine made meaningful by intention. But more than that, we talked about you, about the man who's weathered decades of life, of responsibility, of quiet sacrifice, and maybe somewhere along the way stopped believing he deserved his own care. Let me tell you something clearly, brother, you do. You deserve to feel strong. You deserve to sleep deeply. You deserve to wake up with clarity, with energy, with that quiet confidence that says, "I'm still here and I still matter." Because aging isn't defeat, it's not a slow unraveling, it's a return to rhythm, to presence, to the man beneath the noise. And if this nightly ritual becomes your anchor, if you keep showing up for yourself, not perfectly but consistently, then your body will remember, it will respond, it will trust you again. So tonight, I hope you'll take just 5 minutes, warm the water, pour the juice, slice the ginger, and breathe. Because this isn't about chasing youth, it's about honoring the man you've become. And if this message spoke to you, if even one part of it landed, then let me ask you for one last thing. Click that like button, not for me but for you, for choosing to show up. Because every like tells us this message matters. Every comment is a reminder that you're not alone. Leave a comment below, say I'm in, or share your experience, your questions, your hope. We read them, we honor them. We build this space together. And if this made you think of another man in your life, your brother, your father, your friend, share this video with him. He might need to hear what you just heard. This channel isn't about trends, it's about truth. It's about real health for real men in the real world. Thank you for being here, thank you for listening, and most of all, thank you for not giving up on yourself. Until next time, I'm Dr. Jonathan Prescott, and you, my friend, are just getting started.